Hello everyone, my name is Tessa Rogers and this is my Community Conversation Module 1 Part 2 for EDFN 530, Instructional Technology Design and Assessment. Let's start off with some of my professional history. My career took off after graduating from Kutztown University in 2008. For the next 4 years, I spent substituting long-term in teaching posts in various school districts in Berks County. After 4 years, I was offered a permanent teaching position at a parochial school in Shillington, Pennsylvania. I was hired to teach second grade, but the next year I moved up with that class to third grade, and I have remained there ever since. So I have been teaching for 5 years at LaSalle Academy, 4 years in third grade. LaSalle Academy is a parochial school and it has classes from preschool, so 3 years old we start them, all the way through 8th grade. Our yearly enrollment currently is around 220 students. That varies from year to year, but enrollment is a big push in parochial schools. Our average class size ranges from 12 on the younger end to 25 children per teacher on the older student end. LaSalle Academy is a small, diverse community, and I always like to say, use the famous quote, "It takes a village to raise a child," and it certainly does. We become very close with students beginning at the young ages and watching them grow and flourish all the way through until the upper grades. This is my Beyond the Classroom slide talking about my family and hobbies. I am currently married 3 years. I am the mother of 2 beautiful daughters. Tegan is 5 and Dylan is 2. Notice in the picture we actually had Thanksgiving in South Carolina 2 years, last year actually, so that was fun. And Tegan actually attends the pre-K at LaSalle Academy. It's a unique experience because she gets to come with me to work every day. My hobbies include gardening, organizing, side note, kind of an obsession, cleaning, oddly enough, going on adventures with my girls. I also am the assistant coach for our girls volleyball team, grades 4 through 8. It's a CYO league, and it's a great opportunity for our girls to get involved in sports and to participate with different CYO teams in the area. My favorite place to go, Ocean City, New Jersey. My parents have a shore house there, and the ocean is such a soothing place. Why STEM? I am more than eager to impart a passion for STEM in my students, as well as faculty that maybe aren't that familiar with it at the current moment. I also want to make sure that a mastery of technology empowers educators to keep up and create emerging trends in the classroom. My long-term goal for the STEM program is to create a STEM curriculum for the Diocese of Allentown, which is our administrative body at LaSalle Academy. Just a reference to Gupta here, this stood out for me in her journal article that performance-based assessment model for STEM can be used at every grade level, which attracts to me immediately because our school is so young to so old, so it's such an age range, 3 to 13, 14-year-olds. These are some of my roles at LaSalle Academy and beyond. I am head of third grade curriculum instruction, so that means that I have the unique role of guiding curriculum and instruction for third grade. A side note that the Diocese of Allentown has moved into trimesters this year. So we are going back and reevaluating our units and how they fit in as trimesters now. I'm also reading coordinator for the entire school. We strive to integrate instruction of reading across levels pre-K to 8, so I help in that integration. I also provide teachers a structured program of reading guidelines, and in order to unify students' literacy skills. As a side note, we piloted the Reading Wonders series 1 through 3 the past 2 years, and now I'm integrating it into grades 4 through 6, and we also have it worked in on the kindergarten level. This past year, I was also asked to be middle stage coordinator. I'm not sure if a lot of people are familiar with that, but a lot of parochial schools have to go through an accreditation program. So we chose to go with the middle states accreditation program. And what I need to be doing in the next year is overseeing school-wide self-study for 2016-2017 school year. Self-study just means what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, how are you going to bring your weaknesses up to meet your strengths, can you make your strengths stronger? So, and we're also going to construct an accreditation report to submit to the association. And next year, I will be hosting the team that will come and thoroughly vet our program in order to pass us for accreditation. Okay, let's get to the meat of the PowerPoint, which is our assessment strategies. I was asked to look at both Kavita Gupta's 6 Parts of Assessment as Learning and Jan Chapuis's 7 Strategies of Assessment for Learning. Gupta's centers around a specific performance-based assessment she completes in class with her students. Jan Chapuis completes can be completed step by step or in a different order based on student need. Let's get into the similarities, and this is where I'll use my mouse a little bit more. So I have similarities, Chapuis and Gupta's. They meet in the middle. This is how I thought they were very similar. They encourage students to utilize teacher feedback. Feedback was found in both of my readings. Both of them stress the need for students to receive feedback from the teacher. Another similarity would be that each said the students need to self-assess or self-correct in order to further learning. The third similarity would be that they impart on students the ability to gain knowledge and revise their final product, which is down here. Now for the differences. One of the main differences that jumped out at me as just the way they address assessment in the beginning. So Chapuis calls it assessment for learning, and Gupta says it's assessment as learning. Chapuis asserts that before learning takes place, targets, objectives, and goals need to be well defined. So students need to absolutely understand what they are learning and why they are learning it. While Gupta presents her learners with a hands-on activity and asks them to draw their own conclusions and then write their report. Another difference between the two would be that Chapuis exhibits student work that emphasizes strengths and weaknesses. So she shows them models of both, whereas Gupta's focus on group discussion allows them to collaborate on their own strengths and weaknesses and has them draw inferences together. The last and final difference that I would like to highlight is that Chapuis's approach is more open-ended because it revolves around student learning rather than a timed task. So then Gupta's methodology presents clear time limits for each part, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and so on. Finally, my pedagogical philosophy. The one that I related to most was definitely Chapuis' 7 strategies of assessment for learning. This really stood out to me, this quote, "The 7 strategies are not a recipe to be followed step by step." So that jumped out at me immediately because it's never just a clear plan, first, next, then last. You always have to interpret based on the learner. So I try to also furnish the learner with objectives prior to instruction. So they're posted for my students to either refer back to and guide their learning. I also move at the pace of the individual, so I challenge the learner. There are some things that we can move through quickly, but then again, there's some things that we need to move through slowly, which is where the engenders flexibility comes in. This quote also stood out because of the students' sense of self-efficacy, their belief that effort will lead to improvement. So goal orientation is something that I utilize quite frequently in my instruction, sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, sometimes monthly, sometimes unit-based. So I see that as an extremely effective tool to promote effort, and then the students in turn see their improvement from the effort. I also instruct as collaboration between teacher and student. I feel it is a team effort, a joint effort, and I execute assessments as fluid action. Just recently, I sat down with each of my students and we talked about goals and we collaborated together, and then we talked about what kinds of things I'm going to be looking for, they could be looking for to keep their learning on track. Okay, and I thank you very much for watching and learning from my PowerPoint presentation. If there is any comments or questions, I would be more than happy to answer them. Please reply and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.